You know those movies, the ones critics absolutely hated, but for some reason we kind of love them? How does that even happen? Well, today we're going to break down the unique formula behind slept-on cinema, a framework that basically turns finding joy in these misjudged movies into a science. And it all starts with this one simple idea. It's the foundation for everything we're about to get into. In a world that loves to tear things apart, this is a pretty radical thought. What if we just chose to enjoy things instead? Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with their core philosophy. Then we'll walk through all their unique segments, from how they prep you for the movie, to how they break it down, and even their creative exercises after the fact. And we'll wrap up with the big idea behind it all. All right, first things first, to really get what they're doing, you have to understand their mission. We live in an age of just endless, cynical criticism online, right? Well, they make a very deliberate choice to celebrate first and criticize maybe later. I mean, look at this. On the left, you've got your standard internet takedowns. And yeah, these are actual quotes from reviews. But on the right, you have this slept-on approach. It's a total flip. Instead of leading with what's wrong, they're committed to finding what works and giving everyone, including themselves, permission to just enjoy the ride. So what is a slept-on movie anyway? Look, it's not just about liking bad movies. It's about finding these misjudged gems. You know the ones, those big movies from the 90s or 2000s that got trashed by critics, but audiences had a blast with. The whole idea is that there's real, actual value hiding right under the surface of all that negativity. Okay, so that's the philosophy, but how do they actually put it into practice? Well, their formula for finding the fun starts before you even press play. They have this really cool way of getting you, the viewer, ready to look for the good stuff. They call it BOLO, which stands for Be on the Lookout. It's basically a spoiler-free list of little details to watch for, and it completely changes the experience. You're not just passively watching anymore, you're on this fun scavenger hunt, actively looking for these quirky, memorable moments. For instance, they might tell you to keep an eye out for a tiny, character-defining prop that you would absolutely miss otherwise, like this almost invisible little pocket protector on Edward Nygma in Batman Forever. Or they'll point you toward a completely wild and unforgettable plot point, like, hey, watch for the part where they do an impromptu tracheotomy with a pen in the middle of the Amazon River in Anaconda. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And sometimes it's just about spotting the wonderfully weird things happening in the background, like a woman just casually wearing a high-heeled shoe as a hat in an airport. See? The BOLO gets you in the right headspace to find the fun. So you've watched the movie, you've found all the BOLO items, and now comes the main event. This is their signature segment, the draft, and it's where they really start to build a solid case for why the movie is actually great. The whole thing is set up just like a fantasy sports draft. The hosts go back and forth, picking any single element of the movie they genuinely loved. This forces them to really spell out exactly what works and why, building a positive argument for the film, piece by piece. And what's so cool about it is the sheer variety of what they consider draftable. It's not just best actor or best director, no way. They're drafting things like on-screen chemistry, practical effects, a single great line of dialogue, or even the soundtrack. If it adds something to the movie, it's fair game. So a #1 draft pick could be something like the incredible practical effects. Here, Stan's celebrating the miniature sets and the huge water tanks they used in Dante's Peak. He's making the case that this old-school craft is the very reason the movie still looks so awesome today. Or the pick could be a lightning-in-a-bottle performance. Grove Street argues here that casting Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, right at the absolute peak of his stardom, wasn't just a good call, it was the only thing that could have made that movie the smash hit it became. Now, celebrating a movie doesn't mean you have to pretend it's perfect. These films definitely have flaws, but the key is how you talk about them. Instead of just tearing the movie down, they get creative and try to rebuild it. And that's the central question of their One Change to Blockbuster segment. It's a really cool thought experiment in being constructive with criticism, not destructive. And their method is just brilliant. They pinpoint one key problem, they propose a tangible fix, and then they imagine this what-if scenario. What could the blockbuster version of this movie have looked like? They're not just complaining, they're actually problem-solving. A perfect example is what they say about Anaconda. The proposed change isn't to turn it into some serious drama. No, it's to make it more of what it already wants to be. Lean into the crazy creature feature, embrace an R rating, and give the audience the glorious, over-the-top spectacle they came to see.
Okay, so their final big segment moves beyond just analysis and into pure, joyful creativity. They've looked at what the movie is and what it could have been, and now they imagine what could come next.
And this isn't just random fan fiction, it's a sign that they genuinely love these worlds. They're dreaming up prequels for villains from Anaconda or pitching a wild sequel to Knowing, where Nick Cage goes to space. They'll even take a background gag like the fake horror movie from Ernest Saves Christmas and pitch it as its own feature film. It's just pure fun.
So we've gone through the whole playbook, the philosophy, the BOLO, the draft, the one change, the spin-offs. So what's the big takeaway? What's the point of this whole formula?
It really all comes down to this. We hear the word formulaic, and we usually think that's a bad thing, right? A weakness. But they're flipping that on its head. A good formula isn't a lack of creativity. It's a reliable recipe for success. What they've built here isn't just a show format. It's a repeatable formula for enjoying movies.
And that's really the final message. This whole framework isn't just for a show. It's a mindset that any of us can use. It's about giving yourself permission to stop looking for what's wrong with a movie and start searching for what's right. So the real question is, what slept-on gem are you ready to go rediscover?